touching on the top prop bets in the NBA. Also going to give you guys some NHL, NFL, and PGA props as well. It's a jam-packed video. Let's get into it. Typically, I'll toss in some NHL bets at the end, but I found one that is too good to not let you guys know right away. I think this number is going to adjust throughout the day. That's why I wanted to give it to you guys. So looking at Chris right now, the over and under is set at 2.5 shots on goal. Okay, if we go to like DK Sportsbook and we look at his over and under shots on goal, it's set at minus 165 to get over 2.5 shots on goal. And his under is set at plus 135. And if we look at other sites as well, they're saying combined it's minus 151 and plus 40 to get the under. So in theory, this should be a hammer home bet in theory. And I need to double check this because I don't recall seeing a number like this in a while. Like I'm not going crazy here. I'm seeing this right? Shots on goal, Chris, spelt the same. We should be good. All right. So we do have one good bet there, NHL wise. And I just want to get that out to you guys before we really dive into this video so that if you guys think it is a good prop, you guys can go ahead and make that before the number changes. So one of my favorite bets on the day is actually Jrue Holiday over 19.5 points. And this is partially due to a couple of things. Number one, it's going to be that good matchup with the Pacers. He should be able to take advantage of that matchup. I like that a lot. We can see he's been giving up a lot of shot attempts recently as well. And really the only game in which he hasn't gotten this over was that game against Detroit, which was a massive scoring game, but it was a game in which was a blowout and they just didn't need him to do much. Like everyone was doing well. So we look at the last game against Indy, he really went off against them as well. So I think that all adds up to Jrue just on paper being a really good bet. And then we tack on the fact that they could potentially be without Giannis, currently questionable, expect him to play, but you never know with this NBA stuff. There is the possibility that Giannis could sit. Obviously, if Giannis sits, Jrue at 19.5, his points would go up. They're also without Bobby Portis as well, and Jrue Holiday gets about the fourth most minutes, and it's a big sample size, about 606 minutes, and he averages 19.7 points per 36. So we are getting him at that average right now, which in this matchup to me is a good thing. If we pull up this game, we can see that it is projected to be a very high scoring game at 239. The issue is that it could be a blowout, but it could be a blowout in the Bucks' favors. So that's why I like Jrue there. And then if we just look at points as well, he is slightly favored to get the over there as well. Actually, if you look at across other sports books, they have it a little bit higher for the over. And maybe instead you do first half points, okay? Because this is a little bit more appealing to me slightly. If the game is a blowout, obviously, then part of the reason why it'd be a blowout is because someone like Jrue is going off. So one prop that I don't really agree with, but the sports books are pretty much projecting Kyle Anderson at 10 points. So there's a big difference there. Some have him at 10.5 and they're favoring the under, and a sportsbook like DraftKings has it set at 9.5, so they're favoring the over. So basically they're projecting him to get 10 points, but they don't want to do that even number. And so really this would be kind of a smash bet if we knew Gobert was going to sit. He is currently questionable, probably going to play because he's played the last 2 games, but they do have another game tomorrow as well. So I think there is the possibility that Gobert could sit out given the fact that they have a back-to-back. So maybe this is a bet that you make hoping that Gobert sits, and then if he plays, you can just take it out as the day progresses. So another bet that kind of looks pretty good is going to be Fred VanVleet over points, but I really wanted to see what his fantasy points are before I make a bet on this because he has been someone that has been undervalued fantasy point-wise for quite a while now. And the sportsbooks are kind of saying that we should be betting VanVleet over points, but I would just feel much more comfortable knowing that we could do fantasy points. Because if we look at VanVleet, for quite a while, he's been really playing well. So I would say the number's probably going to be at 39, I would assume. And so if it is there, I'd feel comfortable betting it. Obviously, it wouldn't be like a hammer home bet, but it'd still be one that looks good on paper. We can see the last time he played the Golden State Warriors did have 22 real life points and scored 42 DK points as well. So this might be another wait and see one. I wish they gave us the fantasy points earlier on in the day. You can see why they don't, though. It just shouldn't be that hard of a calculation, though. They already have the points, assists, and rebounds in there. Just tossing the fantasy point projections in there as well. So you guys will see a lot of the bets with this Toronto Golden State game, and I'll pull up the line here, are ones that we're favoring over. So this could potentially be a spot in which we are going to game stack. 234.5.5 for the over and over, the third highest on the game, or on the slate, but still very appealing. It is a game that should be close as well. So one of the bets that's popping up with this game would be Pascal Siakam over 7.5 rebound. Okay, we can see he's been able to do that in basically all the games except for being off by 1 rebound against New York and against Minnesota. And so I think that's encouraging to me, given the fact that he's been right there. A little bit of a closer game. a few more 3-ball attempts getting chucked up there, should be able to get to, at least 8 rebounds. Once again, kind of looking at the sports book, this is one of the better odds that we're getting thus far today. Is -135 for Pascal Siakam over rebounds. And I'll show you guys OG as well, 4.5. I'll get into that in just a second. But if we look at Pascal Siakam on the season, he is already averaging 8.3 rebounds. The Golden State Warriors have been a team that we have been attacking center-wise thus far this season in something like DraftKings or FanDuel. Now, we can see last game against Golden State only had 5 rebounds, okay? But he went off fantasy point-wise. So he's another one in which maybe we wait and see what the fantasy points are. Or we make the bets for the over here with VanVleet and Siakam and potentially OG. And then if there are better bets available with the fantasy points, then we can come back and do those instead. So yes, they have OG over 4.5 rebounds as well for this game. And we can see on the season does average 5.6. That's appealing to us. And I don't believe OG played in that game against Golden State the last time out, so we won't have that sample to look at. Like I said, he is favored to get the over there. And this is like across all the sports books. They're all valuing him about -130, which are good odds. And so obviously if we are kind of running out of stack like this, and remember, if you're doing like a 3-leg bet, do it on Underdog where the payout is going to be better. But this is more, individually, I don't exactly love these bets, but they're appealing. I would say they're better for stacking purposes. And so another bet that the sportsbook really quite like is going to be Draymond Green over 6.5 assists. My biggest issue is that he's been over that 5 straight games. Okay, typically speaking, it's the regression. There's a reason why that number is set at 6.5 and not like 8, like he has been, or 7, like he has been doing, recent. On the season, we can see does average 6.8, so slightly over that. Against Toronto, the last time out, 5 assists, 9 rebounds, had a pretty good game as a whole. I mean, he scored more, okay? And you don't expect that there with Draymond. So if he's not scoring the basketball, what are we expecting? We're expecting him to be passing the ball a little bit more, thus having more assists. It's kind of as simple as that. And so this one feels like one of the better bets that are out there. I just hate the fact that he has literally been going off in the assist department for quite a while now. Okay, so it's due to come down. He's due to have a game in which he's not getting 7 assists. And just showing you guys it on DK Sportsbook. I like to use DK Sportsbook for you guys because it's like the easiest one to compare it against PrizePicks, just how it flows. I'm actually coming out with a kind of like a how-to video of like free research for PrizePicks NBA, just like a simple kind of which websites are the ones I use for free research. I'll be posting that probably later today, so be on the lookout for that. I just think it's a fun kind of another video that should be able to help you guys out. So one of my favorite bets on the day is actually Markelle Fultz over 5 assists. And I do not believe that DK Sportsbook has it set just yet, but I'm assuming that the number is going to be either 4.5 for the over, which is going to be heavily favored, or it's going to be 5.5 for the under, which would be favored a little bit more. To me, the line is pretty much accurate. If anything, this is going to be a push where he just gets 5. So I like the fact that it is an even number. Obviously, a push on PrizePicks is not hurting us. It's actually helping us for the most part, especially if we're doing, smaller amounts of bet. But looking at it, Fultz, he's been getting there 4 out of the last 5 games, which obviously we like. What I like as well is that the last 2 games we have seen from him, he has gone over 30 minutes. The biggest issue with him as a play, both DFS and PrizePicks wise, is the minutes have not been predictable with Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs back. And I would say it's far from a lock because of that, but at the same time, it is going to be an appealing bet to me, just given the fact that we are getting a push related number here, but chances are I think he gets the over. So I would consider this my favorite NBA bet, and then maybe Draymond over 6.5. But I also like the idea of going over Jrue Holiday 9.5 points first half. And typically I don't like doing first half because, well, you are just reducing the sample size down. Okay, this is me betting on the game script of this game potentially being a blowout. And if it is a blowout, I would think Jrue Holiday would be part of the reason why. You can see the last time out against Indy, did have 14 points in the first half in that game as well. So one of the things I'm working on is going to be like a NBA page like this as well. But I got some PGA bets for you guys. So looking at it right now, I have kind of a bet tag, and we're going to go by hammer. Okay. In theory, these should be really good bets, is basically what I'm looking at. Now, I'm going to take this one from Sanjay Imhoff because it's just, he didn't have a prop, and it's pulling in what his prop would have been. His props, he's available for every other prop category except for greens is the issue there. So I'm going to take him off here. Oops. Okay, there we go. Deselect. Okay, so looking at right now, we can see we got 2 GURs, 2 fairways, hit percentages, and 2 matchups. So let's just go ahead and sort by greens and regulation. So these ones are not as appealing, especially because it's Kyle Morikawa and Justin Thomas, 2 of the better players on the PGA Tour. We can see the line is set a little bit too high. This is their projection. This is the tournament average for players that hit the fairways, about 10.2. It could be a little bit higher, but either way, this is looking like a good number. And then last year's data was 11.7 fairways hit. So we can already see like this number is probably too high. And maybe more so for JT, where he only slightly averages over it. Okay. Both feel a little bit risky there. So I'd much rather go with these other two bets. So we have fairways hit. Okay. We can see the average last year was 8.12. The pre-tournament average as well, which is kind of combining all the years, 7.98. Okay, so all these are kind of under that number already. What PrizePicks is saying is that these guys are going to have a worse day. Okay, so I like betting the over. Okay, especially with Ricky, where he is already averaging 9.9 fairway or 9.91 fairways hit. Okay, so this is probably the best one we're getting PGA wise, but I don't mind Justin Rose and Jason Day as well. And then two matchups. I think I gave you guys Thomas Dietrich 2 days ago, and he got killed by Satoshi Kreider. I'm actually fine going back to it. Thomas Dietrich is the better player, and so I think that's going to win out long term. And the Day is agreeing with that. And then Taylor Montgomery over Trey Mullinax, same thing. Taylor Montgomery is a better player. The issue with Taylor Montgomery is he's currently in contention to kind of win, so he could choke. Okay, so that's what makes this bet a little bit difficult, but both Taylor and Thomas should be over birdie or better, given their matchup. And now we get back into the NHL bets. Remember, Chris, over shots on goal. We have a couple of other ones that are kind of popping up. They're all going to be unders, and you guys know how I feel about unders. Yes, they hit for the most part yesterday. I think 3 out of the 4 NHL bets hit yesterday. So Alex, they're saying under by -130, and that's collectively across all sports books. So a pretty good number there. Tim, they're saying bet the under on as well, and this is at -135, so much better odds there. And then the next best bet that we're getting is going to be Anthony under 2.5 shots on goal, and this is -140. So a pretty good number there as well. If you wanted to do 2 NHL bets together, you could do Anthony and Chris. But let's go ahead and show you guys today's bet. So first and foremost, it would be doing Chris over shots on goal. This almost feels too good to be true, though. That's the issue I have. And let me just double check while I'm finishing out this video. Okay, no, it's still favored. Okay, we're good. So the next bet I would do would be Ricky over the 6.5 fairways hit, and then just pulling it up again for you guys. Pretty favored to get that over. From there, I do like Thomas Dietrich, birdie or better matchup, but I will say this feels like much more of a 50-50 is what I'm discovering, is that the birdie or better matchups are much more closer to 50-50 than, obviously we would like. And then right now I'm going with Fultz for over 5 assists, kind of hoping that this is honestly just a push at 5 assists, but right now it's looking like a good number. And then this is going to be up to you guys as well. I like Jrue Holiday first half points over. You could do the full sample size though and play it safe, 19.5. That's definitely the safe, I shouldn't say safer approach, but you aren't reducing the sample size there then. And then for what it's worth, we are getting this Joe Burrow free square. Essentially, we are getting Joe Burrow and that Chris hockey prop bet over. So if you guys have been waiting on it, probably would be a good spot to attack that as well. And so here are the bets that I'll be looking at just so you guys can see it a little bit better. And if I had to choose 2 for today's bet of the day, it'd probably be Markelle Fultz, more assists, and then Chris, more shots on goal. All right, but that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give a like and subscribe. That helps me continue to put out more content for you guys. Be on the lookout for that kind of how-to free research tools related PrizePicks video that I'll be posting later today. I think it'll just be useful. Thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.